Milan version Massimiliano Allegri 2.0 make their highly anticipated Serie A debut in front of a sold-out San Siro against newly promoted Cremonese. The first of many Lombardy derbies this season, and whilst Milan have turned to a familiar face for guidance this campaign, Cremonese have picked a safe pair of hands with Davide Nicola, building a survival expert reputation for himself. Loftus-Cheek, Yusuf Fofana, Jimenez, it took a touch. Deflection there, just taking it wide, but a first real sight at goal for Milan. Modric's ball towards Gabbia once again. Estupinan, why not? It was dipping viciously, but it dipped just wide. Santi Jimenez through here, and Santi Jimenez is flagged offside. This is towards Kolokolo, beaten to it by Pavlovic, who's given it straight to Kolokolo. Bonazzoli, and that's a good save by Maignan. Van der Putter, glancing off the head of Kolokolo. Zerbin, his turn to put it in, and it's a good ball headed in by the new man, Baschirotto, and there's a real roar from the away end. The man with the muscles his way to his first Cremonese goal. Pulisic, punched away by Aldero and put wide by Jimenez. Good tackle, Zerbin. Play on, says the referee. Estupinan, time to pick a man. Pavlovic, on the stroke of half-time, it's Pavlovic who has put Milan level with the first real piece of quality in their build-up play. Pavlovic has managed to find a way through. Loftus-Cheek can drive. Now Tomori, better connection, and that could have been a problem for Aldero. Jimenez, Salemakers, Modric! That would have been a dream debut in Serie A. Modric's corner now. Pulisic, and it's bounced to Gabbia, it hasn't. Caught it nicely, Pulisic. Modric. Numbers in the middle. And it's saved by Aldero. Pezzella. Good cross. Oh my goodness, what a goal! Welcome back to Serie A, Federico Bonazzoli. A piece of magic. Good ball. Pulisic. Pulisic! Not far away. Fofana. Loftus-Cheek! 75,000 Milan supporters thought that was in. A historic day for Cremonese. Is a first ever win at San Siro against Milan. Milan 1, Cremonese 2.
volte, via, 4 volte, via.
Samu, concentra Samu.
Uguale, un pochettino più intenso, skip e carico bene la gamba da poco.
Dietro sono le sagome, oppure l'arti fa 1, 2, si apre.
Quando volete recuperi camminando, l'altro lato.
Contare quanti gol fatti, contare il conto calcio.
Destro, vado.
Sì, solo dove mettere il pallone.
Ok, facciamo ancora 1 e 1 e basta. Vai, 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 vai. Ora, poi recuperiamo. Tony, qua. E riattacca su Ale, dai.
Dai, su.
Andiamo. Sì, vai, vai.
Vedete almeno un po' reale però, guarda forte.
Ora, cattivo, ora.
Adesso i falli.
Sì. Oh, dai, rientra, dai.
Oddio, mi sono perso. Guarda, vieni qua. Sì, sì.
1, 2, veloce.
Tu lavori sempre con i tagli.
Bravo, vai.
Qua, Davide. Vieni subito. Sì, tutti fanno tutto, ragazzi, eh. Sì, Matti, vieni a lavorare qua. Scarico e ti riapri, bravo. Sinistro, forte. Torna dentro che attacchi quella di Coni. Attacchi la palla di Coni, sì. Dai.
Bravo Matteo.
Quindi 1. Davanti, sì. Buona. E vieni Ciuccu, Samu. Dai. Qua qualità, Ciuccu, qualità nell'azione. Guarda sempre la palla. 1, 2. Torna qua da me, e attacca forte. Eccola, lì dietro, andiamo. Giusta. Attacca forte, Siardo. 1. Sì. Loro stanno con la linea alta, Siardo, veloce. Esterno. E la palla.
Bravo.
Ruben. Sì, Ruben, qua qualità, Qua qualità, Ruben. Qua qualità, sì.
Veloce.
E vieni qua, Ruben, vieni qua.
Troppi tocchi, Ruben, troppi tocchi.
Sì. Siamo là reale, ragazzi, reale, Ardo. Così.
Ruben. Sì. 2. Col tiro.
Ruben, da qua, spostiamo e messo. Non da fermi, Non da fermi, si Matte, fuori, Ciuccu. Qualità, Matte. Sì, è giusto. Ripassa dietro. Giusta.
Testa.
Vieni, Ale. Dai. Sì, e apri. Sinistro e destro. E Brian, ripassa dietro. Dai. Attacca da Ruben. Sì. Eccola Ruben, questa, giusta. Dai ritmo. Sì. Rapido e qualità. Sì. Apri bene, sì. Eccola, qua e riattacca. Sì, dai, eccola. Bravo Matte. Questa. Sì. Bravi, dai. Sì, Samu. Vieni Samu. Eccola.
Sì, Samu.
Spingi la palla, non passa mai, è un cross. Aspetta, guarda. E vieni Aro, Ecco. Aspetta. Quality. 1, 2, e vieni dentro qua e attacca. Sì, giusta. Sì, Samu. Parala bene. Sì, 1, 2, boom. Sì, vieni. E attacca la porta. Ardo. Sì. Sì, Matte. Bene ragazzi, alziamo la qualità di cross. Andiamo. Sì, Matte. 1. Va bene, la sistema. Bravissimo, vieni. E vieni, riattacca quella lì. Sì, Davide, questa. Qualità qua. Sinistro e boom. E destro. Giusta. Bravo. Vieni. Sì. Di destro, sì. Destro. Sì.
Ancora, torna
via. Ed attacca questa di Matti. Dai.
Isso.
Ferma! Bene la palla dietro, bene la palla dietro. Benissimi. Là. Bravo! Chiudere! Bravissimo! Ancora, forte Pablo, forte! Volo! Push! Va bene!
Non può far gol qua.
Dritto per dritto fuori. Che arriva? Questo, sì! Chiudere ancora! Sì, il tiro!
In between the two defenders.
Terzo, sì, attacco forte!
Bene. Eccola! Bravissimo!
Chiudo! Sì!
Ancora!
Forte!
Sì! Usa in mezzo a due centrali.
Via, chiudo! Terzo, sì, attacco forte!
Senti, forte il primo palo.
Bravo Alex!
Sì, questo andiamo!
Grande!
Forte, sì, terzo che viene!
Esci Luca!
Bravo!
Terzo!
Bravissimo! Va bene, Poppa!
Vai. Va bene, va direzione, certo.
Centimetro che fa la differenza.
Buongiorno a tutti, benvenuti alla conferenza di
Good
vigilia
afternoon,
di
everyone.
Lecce
Welcome
Milan.
along
Iniziamo
to
con
the
sempre
pre-match
domande.
press conference on the
Cominciamo
eve of
con
Lecce
Simone.
Milan. We'll start with Simone Nibellini for Milan TV. Thanks, Nicola. Good afternoon, Gaff. I wanted to ask you what the team's reaction has been to the defeat to Cremonese. How have they looked on the training ground this week? How much do they want to bounce back? Good afternoon, everyone. Everyone wants to bounce back. No one expected this defeat. And had we been a bit more switched on the 2 goals we conceded, then we certainly could have come away with a result in a game where we had a number of opportunities. Unfortunately, it went this way. Tomorrow we have the opportunity to bounce back against a Lecce side that play a quick brand of football. They're very organised. And it's never easy to go to Lecce and play. Sky. Good afternoon, Coach. You've been involved in football for a lifetime. Maybe they've already asked you. How do you feel about coaching a team when the transfer window is still open and there's some crazy goings on for the last few days of the transfer window? Does that frighten you, or are you encouraged by some of the names that are coming out? I'm not afraid of this at all. The final days of the transfer window are always like this because we're used to it now. The comings and goings, the vicissitudes of the final days of the transfer window. As for the transfer market, the club are dealing with that. They're trying to equip the team and bring in some players that will certainly will require on a daily basis so that the individuals can work together as a team, so that come the month of March we're in the best possible condition and in the best possible league position. As for everything else, I'm very happy with the players I have to coach from because, as I said earlier on, everyone is very angry about the defeat last Saturday against Cremonese. So we need to keep working hard and think about what we need to keep doing.
Claudio Raimondi, Mediaset.
Mediaset. Hi, Max. I'd like to ask you whether, in light of the comings and goings, amongst all of the title pretenders, maybe Milan are the biggest one in the state of flux, and it might take a while to see your best team. And let's talk about Santi Jimenez. Santi Jimenez is currently the only striker we have available for selection. He's an excellent footballer. He scored a lot of goals at Feyenoord, and I've got to know him over the last 3 weeks since he came back in. He's a good player, and we have high hopes for him. As for whether it's still a work in progress, we're one of the pretenders for the Scudetto, it's pointless to talk about certain things. I think we need to work day in, day out, see how this team develops, and the individual players, because some young players have signed that are good players with a lot of potential, and all we can do is work with them. I think we certainly need to improve upon Milan's league position from last season, and as I said, we have 6 months between now and March to try and get into a good league position. DAZN. Hi, Coach. You said that the club is working on transfer dealings, but how does it work in terms of sharing things? Do you agree with them? Are you completely on board with what's being done? Do you think the club is working the right way? We speak to one another with Moncada, Forlani and Ibrahimovic. We speak to one another, but it is ultimately the club that does the transfer dealings, and we mustn't forget the club does have that input, and they need to make sure that they balance the books as well, and build a competitive team and make sure the balance sheet works. We need to work hard. We need to focus on what we need to do. We have a very hard game tomorrow against Lecce, and that's always the case in Serie A. We saw that last week against Cremonese, and the club will deal with the rest. Gazzetta dello Sport. Hello, Coach. I don't know whether you want to talk about individuals, Christopher Nkunku, who's maybe not official, but he's very close to being over the line. In general, what sort of requests have you asked? Because we think that Allegri wants a physical midfielder, a centre-forward, maybe an extra defender. I'd like to ask you, given that we're here, this is the only opportunity we have to speak to you with the transfer window still open. Are we right in what we're thinking? The club and I have spoken to one another. The club is aware of market opportunities. I do a different job. I'm simply here to work day in, day out with the team, train the players I have available for selection. As I've said, I'm delighted with the squad I have to pick from, because there are some good players in there. All we simply need to do is work hard.
Andiamo avanti da Antonio Vitiello, Corriere dello Sport.
Corriere dello Sport.
Sì, salve mister.
Hello, Coach.
I colleghi hanno già fatto domande sul
Our
mercato.
colleagues have already asked you some questions about transfer dealings in terms of the players that need to come in. In terms of the players that have already signed, I'd like to ask you a question about
sul centrocampista sul centrocampista svizzero che è arrivato
about the Swiss midfielder Ardon Yashari, who came in the summer. What is Yashari's position? Because against Cremonese he came on as a deep-lying playmaker, but is he more of a number 8? Is he more of a deep-lying playmaker? How do you see this player in terms of his skill set? First and foremost, he's a good player with a huge potential. Unfortunately, Yashari got injured this morning because he clashed with Santi Jimenez in the small-sided game, so he won't be available for selection at Lecce. Yashari, this is. Yes, Santi Jimenez, not Alex, the striker. I think he's more of a player in front of the back four or playing in a double pivot. In certain circumstances, you could play as a number 8, but it depends what you ask your number 8 to do and where to do it. La Repubblica.
Buongiorno mister, dopo la Cremonese lei ha parlato
Hi, Coach. After the Cremonese game, you spoke a great deal about the defence, about how you needed to be more switched on defensively. What have you said to the players over the last few days? I'd also like to ask you whether we might see Konu De Vinter, one of the new signings, play tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm not sure which defenders I'll pick, but we haven't spoken about things. We've analysed the goals that we conceded. Of course, we could have dealt with that a little bit differently, and we could have avoided the 2 goals we conceded because we were set in terms of shape. But these things happen because when you concede a goal, it always means that one team makes a mistake. And in the 2 mistakes we made over the course of the 90 minutes, we conceded those 2 goals. So we need to reduce or almost completely do away with mistakes at this moment in time. Good afternoon, Coach.
Il famoso centravanti alla Giroud.
The famous striker like Olivier Giroud, given that the club needed a profile like that at the start of the summer, have you changed your mind or have you changed in terms of what you're looking for? Should we be more patient or has something come to pass? No, nothing has happened. We need to be patient and trust in the transfer dealings the club is doing and will do over the last few days, because it's in everyone's interest, first and foremost the clubs, to build a squad that can be competitive with our rivals. So there is still that demand from your side. No, not only for me, for everyone. I look at the qualities that we need, and then the club does the transfer dealings. Hi, Coach. I'd like to come back to defending. You said after the game that there were two mistakes where you switched off in two situations where you had numbers up and you were set defensively. But looking at the last 3 seasons, sure, you weren't at the club, but Milan have conceded 137 goals. Inter and Juventus 99, so it's almost 40 goals more, and it's 1.2 goals per game conceded. How can you bring down that average? Because it is a problem, a historic issue with this team, regardless of the coaches coming and going and the players in the team. The first thing we need to do is do things and work hard. Talk is cheap. Once we've started to work, then we will become more focused as to when we're defending. And that is something we're working on. And we hope that we go to Lecce tomorrow and we keep a clean sheet. But we can't necessarily do away with these shortcomings in a week or a month. It will require a bit more patience, but I am sure that we will do away with this issue. Franco Ordine? Hi, I wanted to ask you the following. How do you explain the difference between the performances from your Milan side in the pre-season friendlies and the Coppa Italia game? We were all very positive about those displays, and then the other side of the coin that we saw against Cremonese. How do you explain that? Is there a technical, psychological explanation for that? There's no explanation because, as I often say, you can't explain football. You don't explain football, you play it. As for the difference, the performance against Cremonese was still a performance where we created chances, we had 25 shots on goals, but against Cremonese we conceded 2 crosses where we were set the right way defensively in terms of our positioning, but we conceded goals because there were some mistakes at that moment in time. However, against Bari, despite the fact that we won 2-0, against Bari we actually conceded 4 shots on goal and Maignan made 2 big saves. So it's not just because you win a game that there aren't any issues there. In the last friendly that we played, not in London, already in London against Chelsea, we conceded some avoidable goals. But against Leeds, we certainly played better. But in the last friendly, against a team with some limitations in Perth, we still allowed them to have 3 or 4 attacking situations. So that's something that we need to work upon. It's not simply because we beat Bari. In fact, on the opposite, on the other hand, looking at the 2 saves from Mike Maignan and the 2 chances from crosses when they volleyed it in the second half, if you can remember that. That means that there are already a few alarm bells ringing. Against Cremonese, counterintuitively, in terms of anticipating losing the ball counterattacks, the team did very well. We made 2 mistakes against Cremonese in the 2 goals, and that's quite difficult to do, but we did make mistakes, so we need to keep working hard. But defensively against Cremonese, we didn't necessarily think we would concede goals because Maignan didn't have a save to make. But against Bari, we actually ran more risks than we did against Cremonese, but that's the way football is. These things happen. But maybe in our next game, then maybe someone might cross the ball in, we're not set properly, and the ball might go out of play, and no one at the ground will realise that we're out of shape. So it's up to me and my staff to try and improve these defensive situations.
L'équipe.
Bonjour, buongiorno.
Hello.
Rabiot
said to the Gazzetta 2 months ago that I often speak to Allegri. If he calls me, I'll always be willing to pick up the phone. So have you spoken to him recently? No, absolutely not. Before the summer holidays, we haven't spoken to each other since then, but I'm really fond of Adrien Rabiot. Because when he came to Juventus, I actually left the club. But he's a Marseille player. All I can say is that I'm very fond of Adrien because we work together. Tele Lombardia. Amongst the number of things that we've read, said and seen over the last few days is that Allegri's not happy. Allegri sees things differently to what the club are doing. Why is that not true? It's not true because I'm used to being aligned with the club and to coach the players that I have available for selection, because I believe the players I have to coach are always the best, and altogether we need to try and get results, both good and bad. Giovanni Dalia.
Buongiorno, mister. Io faccio un passo indietro.
Hi, coach. I'd like to take a step back. After the Cremonese game, you spoke about perceiving danger. Given that's Milan's Achilles heel and has been for the last 2 or 3 years, is it a case of characteristics, or do you need to go and sign another centre-back? I don't think we necessarily need to. But this is a challenge that all of us, me first and foremost, along with the team, this is a challenge we need to try and win. We need to try and lay the foundation so we can win it. Namely, when we're defending, and when I'm talking about defending, I'm not only talking about the individual defenders or the defence as a whole. I'm talking about the team as a unit. We need to try and win this battle, this challenge.
Buongiorno, mister. Io provo a restare un attimo sulla partita.
I'd like to try and stay on that game. The Lecce game, you said that only Santi Jimenez will be available for selection tomorrow, so that means Rafael Leao's not available. Do you have a plan B or C in an attacking sense? We'll do so one way or another. We have Santi Jimenez and we have some other solutions, so we'll figure it out one way or another. The most important thing is to approach the game in the right way with respect. They're always difficult games at Lecce. There's a lot of excitement at the club. They stayed up in Serie A. They produced a good performance at Genoa to get a point. Eusebio Di Francesco is a very good coach who organises his teams very well. They've got some quick players. So we always need to make sure that we match those teams in terms of respect. Once we have matched the teams and we run as much as them, then ultimately our technical ability needs to come through, and that's something that we need to work upon and improve. Stefano Bressi. Hi, coach. I'd like to ask you about the unavailable players, and you can tell me about the future, but given the importance of Alexis Salamakas, Christian Pulisic, Rafael Leao, one striker, can all 4 of these players play together? Anything is possible. It all depends on how willing the players are that they make available for selection. Because if everyone runs, it's a lot easier to get a result. It's a lot easier to play with more quality players altogether. It all depends on the lads. If the lads are working very hard, and I'm very happy with what they're showing so far. I'm delighted to coach this group of players because they roll their sleeves up, they work very hard, and they train to try and get results. We made a bad start with a defeat, but we hope tomorrow that we can produce a good performance, and even more than that, get a good result.
Alessandra Gozzini e poi l'ultima con Massimo Canto.
Last two questions. Hi, Coach. I'd like to ask you, actually, I'd like to ask a very experienced coach that has managed a number of different situations with individual players, whether you're concerned about how Alex Jimenez has been managed, the fullback, whether it's true that he has been acting up, turning up late, etc. But given how much experience you have, look, everyone's late over the course of a season. There are some that are unfortunate enough to be late at the start of the season, and some will do so later on in the campaign. But I've got nothing against Alex Jimenez. He's a good footballer, so nothing's come to pass.
Prego, Massimo Canta.
Massimo Canta.
Buongiorno mister,
volevo chiederle se la girata degli attaccanti accostati al Milan ha avuto la sua indicazione. Striker merry-go-round linked to Milan has had your blessing, and whether you've ever asked for Dusan Vlahovic. No, I've never asked for Dusan Vlahovic because Dusan Vlahovic is a Juventus player. And I've spoken about skill set and qualities with the club in terms of the other situations that could come up, in terms of other players with different skill sets. If players with different qualities come in, then we'll figure out a way to deal with it.
Grazie a tutti.
Thank you very much, everyone.
E buon lavoro.
Bye-bye.
A very good evening and welcome along to the Stadio Via del Mare. We're all set for live coverage of Lecce against Milan. It is the second weekend of the new Serie A season, and already the Rossoneri beginning to feel the heat. It's fair to say they need maximum points tonight in Salento, having been humbled by Cremonese in their season opener at San Siro. As for Lecce, they're expecting the best part of 30,000 in tonight. They've sold more than 22,000 season tickets, which is a record. And they are looking to stay up in Serie A for the fourth straight season. It's already unprecedented, their current stay in the Italian top flight. And they feel they can get a result against Milan this evening, not only because of recent history, which has seen them go very close in recent times, but also because of the current predicament which is engulfing the Rossoneri. They're missing several key players now due to injury. Rafael Leao still has that calf issue. Christian Pulisic currently nursing an ankle problem, albeit is available amongst the substitutes. And most recently, a fractured fibula for Ardon Yashari, one of their new faces. Lecce have been busy in the transfer market. That's always the case when you've got Pantaleo Corvino and Stefano Trinchera wheeling and dealing. And this is a fervent fan base in what is a pretty big region, a larger region of Puglia, the southern portion of this, Salento, and those colours of the blazing sun. And that looks like Helen Mirren's in the crowd as well. Famous resident of Puglia. Well, we had plenty of Hollywood stars at Como last season. Now we're seeing them as well at the Via del Mare. And dare I say it, she'll be here supporting Lecce and not Milan. Good to see the Rossoneri fans turning out in numbers. They've been vocal pre-match as well. Too often they have been disillusioned in recent times with the exploits on the pitch of the Rossoneri players, and indeed some of the goings-on off the field as well. But the only way for the team to improve on the pitch, you sense, is to be able to tap into that terrific support. Lecce players are ready to go. Vladimiro Falcone has been in terrific form. They finished the season well last term with clean sheets. They've had a couple already to begin this new season. First of all in the cup against Juve Stabia, latterly with that stalemate at Marassi. Helen Mirren perfectly dressed for the occasion with that yellow Lecce shirt and the headband to go along with it. The floor manager there apologising to Livio Marinelli about the tardiness afflicting the Rossoneri. It's unlikely we'll be ready to get going at the slated kick-off time of 8:45 local. Not often you see that in the modern game. Two goalkeepers that are the respective skippers. Falcone on the right, Maignan, his opposite number, the other side of the tunnel. A shock defeat at home to Cremonese on the opening weekend has Milan already playing catch-up, and Lecce is anything but an easy place to go to. Max Allegri has conceded as much in the lead-up to this match, and enthusiasm is through the roof in Salento after record-breaking season ticket sales. They've successfully beaten the drop the last handful of years, looking to make it 4 straight survivals here in this part of the world, and so often they can count on a terrific atmosphere here at the Via del Mare. Lecce Milan is on the way. Believe it or not, these two have met before in their current roles as well. Many years ago now, match day 8 of the 2011-12 season. It was Di Francesco's Lecce against Allegri's Milan. It finished Lecce 3, Milan 4. We'll go over the story of that match over the next 90 minutes or so. But new memories are set to be made this evening in a game which has produced so many goals in recent times. Di Francesco makes 2 changes to the 11 that drew at Genoa. Caba is preferred to Berisha in midfield, while it's Pierotti in place of Banda further forward. Francesco Camarda leads the line against his parent club. He's only 17 years of age. Fairly succinct cry of Lecce reverberates around the Via del Mare. Milan travelling supporters, many of them from the Curva Sud at San Siro, will be trying to out-chant them and out-sing them, quieten them down this evening. Two very accomplished goalkeepers skippering their respective sides. Falcone for Lecce, Maignan for Milan. Livio Marinelli is our man in the middle. We've got Davide Gersini, meantime, as our video assistant referee, watching on from the confines of Lissone and the International Broadcast Centre. Just the one alteration for Milan from the team that began their shock loss to Cremonese. Musa replaces fellow American Pulisic, who's not 100% fit with an ankle issue. Rafael Leão is still injured and therefore hasn't travelled, so Alexis Salamakis is asked to do a job up front alongside Santi Jimenez, who's the only fit and available traditional centre forward. And it's on occasions such as these that you think Milan probably could have done with Camarda tonight. Christopher Nkunku has been in Milan today. Rossoneri spending big to bolster their attacking options, but he won't be available for selection until it is only the second week of the season, but Lecce begin tonight's match against Milan ahead of the Rossoneri in the table. A draw for the Salentini at Genoa to open up their 2025-26 campaign. A defeat for Milan at home to Cremonese, newly promoted, and having only come up via the playoffs, lest we forget. So plenty for Max Allegri to prove this evening, so too his players. Allegri's second spell at Juventus was 3 seasons long, only yielded at Coppa Italia with his final act of his second stint with the Bianconeri. The Rossoneri, there were some optimistic early shouts they might be mounting a Scudetto push. We shall see. Here's Modric. Loftus-Cheek now. Santi Jimenez wants it through the middle. Loftus-Cheek carrying it instead. Loftus-Cheek, well, dispossessed there by Thiago Gabriel. But Milan immediately on the front foot, looking to make a fast start. Had to come from behind here. Last time they were in Salento, they trailed 2-0 to a brace from Nikola Kristovic, Lecce's top scorer last season, who's left the club, signed for Atalanta. Salamakers, clever ball for Santi Jimenez. Trying to get away from Gaspar. Stayed on his feet, the Angolan defender, and won the ball. Camarda taken away from him by Pavlovic. Lecce struggling to get hold of the ball. Expect Milan to dominate possession tonight. Sloppy from Musa. Lots of comings and goings this summer at Milan. Sales of Tijani Reinders and Theo Hernandez certainly hogged the headlines, but been some recent departures as well. Noah Okafor. Let's talk of Alex Jimenez leaving the club. Samuel Chukwueze could be next to go. Malik Chow, lest we forget, has moved on. The Premier League proving a pretty reliable destination for Iglitare, the new sporting director, which to recoup funds to try and finance Milan's moves the other way. Stupinian for Santi Jimenez. And here is Loftus-Cheek. Now it's Musa. Gallo did enough to concede the game's first corner, but Milan showing promise and purpose already. Unsurprisingly, Modric heavily involved. Clever ball there from Stupinian. His wrong foot into Santi Jimenez. Just wonder whether Loftus-Cheek could have hit that first time. And Musa was caught in two minds as to what to do. Modric with the corner. Gabbia's there! Great start this for Milan. And just like against Cremonese, it's one of their defenders with the goal. Pavlovic last week, Gabbia this time around. Who might have only played 3 minutes, but they had been threatening that right from the word go. Got that all-important goal in the derby last season, Matteo Gabbia. This strike feels significant as well. Modric with the delivery, and Gabbia just wanted it more. Might have been a block in there. Perhaps the appeal from Koulibaly for a free kick was a little bit optimistic, just bullied by Gabbia. Exactly the sort of start that Allegri would have hoped for and that the fans might well have envisaged. It was clearly a shove from Gabbia. It's whether it constitutes a foul and whether Livio Marinelli has missed it. Well, he's been summoned by Davide Gersini, and this does mean that we're going to get the opportunity perhaps to hear from the referee on the loudspeaker as well. I think Eusebio Di Francesco is trying to relay a message to his players in any case that they need to be stronger in terms of how they defend. But as far as I'm concerned, you're well within your rights to grapple in the penalty area. Yes, 2 hands on the chest, but I think Las Koulibaly needs to be stronger than that. Livio Marinelli reviewing the footage. This could be a real setback for Milan, just as the Rossoneri were cheering what they thought was an opening goal. We are about to hear from the referee, I believe. Following a VAR check, the Milan number 46 pushed the defender with 2 hands when the goal was scored. The final decision is the goal has been disallowed. Needless to say, Allegri does not agree. Di Francesco gets a reprieve. That's soft, if you ask me, but the officials have decreed. Livio Marinelli saw nothing wrong with it live, or maybe he didn't spot the incident at all. Davide Gersini and his colleague Meraviglia in Lissone had the benefit of several looks. They referred it, and it remains 0-0. That should be a warning to Di Francesco, who Allegri described as an accomplished coach, someone who gets his teams playing good football. We haven't seen too much evidence of that thus far. Di Francesco also hoping to emulate the exploits of his predecessors at Lecce by keeping them in the division, something which has proven beyond him in recent roles. Frosinone, Venezia. Musa. Modric. Milan need to try and put that disallowed goal out of their minds, or at least take courage from just how they've been creating opportunities early on. Modric over the top, Loftus-Cheek giving chase. Gaspar was strong, and then he was impeded. He's been called up for his country, Kialonda Gaspar. The Angola international be involved with his national team during the international break. Koulibaly also named with Mali, Helgason in the Iceland squad, and Stulic, who's the recent recruit at centre-forward, is in the Serbia squad. There's talk of Max Allegri wanting to reunite with an old player of his, Serbian centre-forward Dusan Vlahovic. Albeit Damian Komoli yesterday when the Champions League draw was made, Juventus GM that is, said that Vlahovic is likely to stay 99% sure. Yet see anything from the Salentini from an attacking perspective. Really thwarted them and troubled them last season. Their issues in front of goal, just didn't score enough. Danilo Vega goes back to his goalkeeper. Thiago Gabriel is getting an opportunity at centre-back now since Baschirotto left the club. He's joined Cremonese, which is why Falcone is now skipper in the first place. Caba's gone down too easily. Otherwise, he got the decision on the goal being disallowed. Nothing doing here. Or rather, it's Koulibaly who got a shove. I apologise. Caba, though, did get a goal. Just first for Lecce in that cup win over Juve Stabia. 2-0 in the first round of Coppa Italia Frecciarossa. Milan were also involved at the same stage, lest we forget. Here's Kaba running away from Pavlovic and finding a cross. Gabbia got the cry of solo, meaning time, but cleared it first time. Gallo. Tete Morente's after it. Tomori's done enough. Going to frequently see him drop into that right-back position. It is technically a back three for Milan. Salamakis has lost the ball to Ramadani. Now it's Koulibaly. Gallo getting forwards. Here's Pierotti, allowed to bring it down. Pierotti came off Pavlovic. First scare for Milan defensively. Salamakis more assured in possession this time. So too is Maignan. Lecce without a couple of players for this match. Pierre has a stomach bug. Raffia has come down with the flu. Might well see Nikola Štulic, the new signing, later on, along with the likes of Jamal Zibert and Alex Sala. Fofana seeking out Jimenez. Difficult enough ball to play at the best of times, let alone with the outside of your boot, as Youssouf Fofana attempted there. Milan again turning to French players. Served them pretty well in recent times when you consider Maignan, Theo Hernandez, Giroud. Here goes Gallo. Musa concedes the corner. Fofana, the latest one is Christopher Nkunku. Well, we saw Milan have the ball in the net from a corner. It's Pavlovic blocking a cutback really from Pierotti, just lashed it into an area. Zonal marking for Milan here, or it's perhaps a mixed scheme. Some players are without a marker, including Camarda, who's unhappy that corner hasn't been taken immediately. Gaspard grappling with Victor Mori. Short by Tete Morente, in by Gallo, too high for Camarda. That's Ramadani's effort. Straight up in the air, Pavlovic got something on it. The flag goes up for offside. This could be a source of joy though for Lecce. Dead ball situations. Milan didn't look completely comfortable there. The two mistakes that they made against Cremonese, 2 goals they conceded, came from crosses. The header from Baschirotto, the scissor kick from Bonazzoli. Thiago Gabriel. Every time Gallo gets the ball, he looks to try and ping it over the top. Lecce going direct, not necessarily something we are used to seeing with Di Francesco sides. That's nicely done. Pierotti initially keeping it in play. Pavlovic was strong. Milan throw. Thiago Gabriel. Gallo. Lecce trying to use the wide areas. Haven't produced too much through the middle so far. Really interesting to see whether Milan persists with this 3-5-2 shape when they have everyone available for selection. Feeling is they'll be doing plenty more moves before the window shuts, 1st of September. Pierotti around the corner. Here he is again. Danilo Vega wanted the ball back. Pierotti instead seeks out Caba. Santi Menez holding up the ball and was caught there by Ramadani. It's more that hand in the eye as opposed to the two hands on the shoulders. That's why that challenge was sanctioned. The reason you can hear boos is because the Milan fans are telling the Lecce supporters where to go. Loftus-Cheek. Terrific defending there from Thiago Gabriel. Hasn't conceded a corner either. Tomori. Salamakers. They've let him turn here. Salamakers couldn't quite wriggle his way all the way through. Gallo seeks out Camarda, holding it up and holding off Gabbia, but he did use his arms illegally, the 17-year-old. And now it's Di Francesco's turn to complain. Yes, the stray left arm round the head. And on that basis, I'm not sure Gabbia can have too many complaints that his goal was disallowed. If you give it out, you have to be able to take it. Pavlovic, Estupinian, sloppy. Then he went through the back of Caba. Proud of his roots, Pervis Estupinian. There's a big Ecuadorian population in Milan as well. We're delighted by his signing. What's so impressive about that defending previously from Thiago Gabriel was that he made the block but had his arms behind his back so as to not concede a penalty for handball, and also didn't even put it behind for a corner. Tomori watches it over the byline this time for a goal kick. And he's shown that he's fairly comfortable in that wide channel. Even with his crossing ability, it was his ball into Rafael Leao against Bari, which got the opening goal. Leao came off moments later injured. Bari, arch rivals of Lecce. Allegri with some of his cryptic, enigmatic comments yesterday, saying that you don't explain football, you just play it. Pavlovic seeking out Estupinian, he's found him. Estupinian with the cross, Santi Jimenez, just too high for him. Really nice ball in from the left wing back. Salamakers couldn't find Fofana. Camarda fairly isolated early on here. Milan probing. Salamakers. Fofana. Modric. Most of Milan's play going through Modric. Salamakers releasing Loftus-Cheek. Now it's Fofana, sloppy first touch from him. Estupinian beaten in the challenge by Danilo Vega. Tricky start to the season for Lecce, really. away game at Genoa to begin their domestic campaign. Goalless draw there. Impressive to see them keep a clean sheet. They're at Atalanta next. The arena formerly known as Gevi's Stadium. That's after the international breaks. Match day 3. We have kick-off times up until the third round of the Serie A season, but with the Champions League phase matches, along with the Europa League and Conference League games being confirmed tomorrow by UEFA, should get the next batch of Serie A kick-off times through. Well, this scoreline so far bucking the trend of recent times, which had seen 25 goals across the last 5 meetings in this part of the world. Most recently, Milan's come from behind 3-2 win. That was back in March. Stupinian made to hurry. He's lost the ball not once but twice. Santiago Pierotti. Caba. Here's Pierotti again. They've got numbers here, Lecce. Pierotti goes down. Koulibaly. Camardo was there. That was Tete Morente. Pierotti, I think, wanted a penalty. The referee was unmoved. Caba. They did not make the most of that, Lecce. Had a huge overload inside the Milan penalty area. Gallo, meantime. Tete Morente. It's easy enough for Musa to watch it behind. And now Pierotti will have a chat with Livio Marinelli. Stupinian twice careless in possession. Perhaps they just took the wrong option. Was that a foul by Gabbia? No. Pierotti clearly on the way down. This time the referee did see it and made a definitive ruling. It's nowhere near a penalty. And he's perhaps fortunate, the Argentine, that he hasn't been cautioned for that. Could have easily constituted simulation. Modric seems to have so much more time in possession than anyone else on the pitch. It's whether he has the options ahead of him to really hurt Lecce. Pavlovic. Oh, watched by Pierotti. Salamakis is there. Here he is again. Salamakis slipped. He feels he was nudged over. He might talk himself into a booking here. Gallo, meantime, game becoming fairly stretched. We've only played a quarter of the contest. Morente. There are no mugs, Lecce, particularly on their home ground. Typically, they unearth some pretty good talent as well, which is why they frequently sell their best players for a handsome profit. Consider Morten Hjulman to Sporting, Patrick Dorgu to Manchester United, most recently Nikola Krstovic for something approaching 30 million euros to Atalanta. Gaspar. Danilo Vega. Caba using his body to hold off Pavlovic. Now it's Danilo Vega. This time Stupinian was smart. Got to the ball first, accepted the contact and took a tumble. It's experienced play from the wing-back. Was this a foul on Salamakis? No, quite simply. Cooling break on the way from the sounds of things. picked up a bit of Ruben Arena, the fourth official there, discussing it pitch side, presumably when the ball next goes out of play. Tutta la curva, chant the Lecce fans. Let's get the whole stand singing in support. I don't recall Falcone having a save to make. He was beaten by that Gabbia header. And now it's time for the cooling break. Drinks. He'll be encouraged by what he's seen so far, Max Allegri. This could have been a much easier proposition had that goal inside 3 minutes from Milan stood. Gabbia header being ruled out. It's been a little bit unfortunate at times with goals not being credited his way. This one didn't even stand in the record books, but I remember goal being credited to Yusuf Fofana last season, which was clearly a Gabbia goal. How many of those Lecce players Helen Mirren is familiar with, whether she's got all of the stickers. Hard for many Lecce supporters, given the turnover in players that there have been at times this club. Well, that's part of the business model. Something even acknowledged by Stefano Trinchera, who's sporting director, works with Pantaleo Corvino. It's the real brains behind the recruitment operation. Trinchera accompanied some of the new signings in a press conference and spoke about how Riccardo Sotil will help Lecce improve in the attacking areas. Player who was at Milan on loan for the second half of last season. Said it's hard to improve our personnel because of our financial position. Well, those boards with the magnets have been in the news recently. Eusebio Di Francesco showing Mohamed Kaba what he wanted to see there. It's a source of ridicule for Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim after his team's exit in the League Cup to fourth-tier opposition, Grimsby Town. That was clearly the easiest way to put across the point to Kaba. Estupinian. Good tracking mat from Pierotti. That's what you need when you're going to play a 4-3-3 system. The wingers can't be feckless. Have to be on their toes, have to be willing to put in the hard graft. Long by Falcone. Gabbia won the header. Musa. Not an easy start to the season for the Rossoneri. We'll know a lot more about their title aspirations and indeed Scudetto credentials probably come the October international break, by which time they will have already played Bologna, Napoli and Juventus. The other side of the October international break, they're at home to Fiorentina. Never an easy game that, especially with Stefano Pioli returning to San Siro. Allegri happy with the idea there, if not the execution. Tomori under pressure from Camarda, who tripped him. Looks like we've got some quirky signings on the way. There is Iglitare, the Milan sporting director. He's Talk of Jamie Vardy signing for Cremonese. Return perhaps for Raul Albiol, formerly of Napoli, to Pisa. Does call to mind some of the recruits that Salernitana had at times. Franck Ribéry, Jerome Boateng. Here's Modric. Gambier's ball forward. Quite have enough backspin on it to keep it in play for Yunus Musa. There's Saverio Sticky Damiani. Doing really well at the Lecce helm as their president. Looks like he spent most of the summer out in the sunshine or perhaps on the beach. There's Nikola Štulić, new centre-forward option. You are spoilt for choice. There's embarrassment of riches when it comes to resorts here. Near Lecce, you've got the Adriatic, the Ionian. The latter arguably produces the better beaches, but the locals will head to a certain spot depending on which way the wind is blowing, whether it's the Scirocco from North Africa or the Maestrale, Levante from the east, Tramontana, across the mountains, across the Alps. You can tell what wind it is, apparently, by what it does to your hair. Modric clips it into the middle, Loftus-Cheek was, I think, trying to guide it towards a teammate as opposed to going for goal himself. But there are very few places like Salento in summer, let me tell you, if you're lucky enough to experience it. Terrific food, party atmosphere seemingly all day throughout the night. When you do have a late night, you can always round off the evening with a pasticciotto, perhaps a caffè ghiaccio, which is coffee over ice, albeit with almond milk. Delicious. Tend to steam up the almond milk as well. Anyway, summer will soon be but a distant memory with August coming to a close. The transfer window slamming shut as well. International break on the way. All we're left with is wistful memories of the way we were. Stupinian has clattered Camarda there, advantage because Lecce have the ball, but it's a head injury, so the referee should probably stop play. Caba, Danilo Veiga. Lecce are unhappy now because they haven't got the free kick. Camarda's only just back to his feet. In the meantime, Milan have recovered the ball. Modric. Salamakers. It's up towards Loftus-Cheek. He's done well here, Loftus-Cheek, round the goalkeeper, at least he tried to. Referee saying he spotted the handball, it wouldn't have counted in any case, but Falcone was on his toes. Very quickly dropped at the feet of Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Clearly came up off the forearm of the former Chelsea midfielder there. Not necessarily with any intent. I think he was struggling to locate the ball. Fofana finding Santi Jimenez has been quiet. Plenty of Rossoneri supporters still not sold on him. In fact, there is talk of the club maybe even selling him. Camarda linking up with Tete Morente. Now Caba takes over. Tete Morente again. It's a collective cry of Uomo there, man on from the Via del Mare. It didn't do much good. And he'll be frustrated, EDF, because it's just the decision-making in the final third which has cost Lecce. They've had a few promising openings. Santi Jimenez up against Gaspar. Salamakers. It has reached Santi Jimenez. Good-looking ball in. Musa's there. Loftus-Cheek slapped away by Falcone. Lecce's goalkeeper so often makes the difference. He proved it once again there. Wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing stop, but it was mighty effective. Modric. Milan feel they're closing in on an opening goal. Musa. Modric stands it up. Santi Jimenez was waiting. Salamakers. Played it straight against Pierotti, who will now charge away from Estupinian. Terrific work from him. Caba. Might be Lecce's best route to goal in transition. We saw it with Krstovic in March. Pavlovic too strong there for Caba. Dare I say it, it's not a 5-goal thriller. It's not one of those 2-2 draws that we had in back-to-back seasons here. Still goalless, but it's hugely entertaining. Pavlovic, Salamakers on the half-turn. Fofana now. Great first-time switch of play. Into Loftus-Cheek. Gaspar had more time than that. He's played it straight to Tomori, who's given it away to Camarda. Nice touch on the teenager. Thiago Gabriel gets it clear, straight to Estupinian. Salamakers, hard to pick up because he tends to wander. Does that wherever he's playing. Modric, Loftus-Cheek, Jimenez. Now it's with Musa. Danilo Vega felt he had to concede the corner. Nice idea, the cross from Jimenez. That was Falcone just staying big enough to keep out the header. It could have easily looped over him by Loftus-Cheek. That was the Englishman's intention. They've had the ball in the net already from a corner, albeit from the opposite side. Modric with the set piece. This time Koulibaly got it away. I think that was an attempt on goal from Musa. Goals are not his forte. The issue for Milan is the fact that the September international break this season comes after just 2 rounds of fixtures. Ordinarily we're used to seeing it after at least 3. You won't want to be waiting until mid-September to try and record your first win. And that will be the state of play unless they can come away from Salento with maximum points. Pavlovic lost the ball. The whistle has gone though, just as Lecce had a dangerous transition. Caba down, holding the small of his back. Musa has been in the press for much of the summer. There was strong links with Napoli in the early portion of the close season. Atalanta, a recent name that's been mentioned. Credit to Camarda for outrunning everyone bar his teammate Ramadani. We resume with the drop ball. Boos are because Lecce technically had possession. Could have easily given it to Milan and asked them to kick it long to Lecce, but Rossoneri didn't oblige. Under no obligation to do so. Normally those edicts come from the match officials. That was a risk there from Danilo Vega. I can understand why Salamakis is unhappy. Charged down the attempted clearance, seemed to have the edge in terms of chasing it down as well. If you missed the early game, where were you? Terrific match at Mazzini between Cremonese and Sassuolo. Cremonese 2-0 up, Sassuolo pegged them back, and an added time penalty winner for the Grigio-Rossi, 6 points from 6. Maybe they knew something we didn't. Maybe Milan's loss to them in a few months' time won't look as humiliating as it first appeared. And Stupinian did enough. Plenty of action to come tomorrow in the Italian top flight. As ever, the first two matches, whilst we're still playing in August, the rules say we have to play in the evening because of the heat. Bologna Como and Parma Atalanta, the pair of 6:30 kickoffs. And then in the evening, Napoli Cagliari, a repeat of the game that Partenope won to seal the Scudetto on the 23rd of May. Pisa Roma at the same time. Cabba, they're backing off him here. Slipped through for Pierotti. Still there for Pierotti. And now Cabba. It's a big lash of the left boot. And it lacked precision. They have had openings. No clear-cut chances by any means, but after Pierotti pivoted here, Cabba couldn't keep his composure. I think he recently got his first Lecce goal. And to wrap up the remaining fixtures in match day 2 on Sunday, it's Genoa, Juventus and Torino, Fiorentina, the two games at 6:30. Inter, Udinese, the Nerazzurri on the back of that 5-0 rout of Torino, and Lazio, Verona. The other game in the 8:45 slot will be done by Sunday night, so that Serie A's international contingent can get on a plane, join up with their respective countries, those that have been named. The others will be working hard on the training ground. Salimak is keeping his balance. Stupinian. Time for Pierotti. Cabba away from Pavlovic. Still going here, Cabba. Is there a final ball? Cabba's cross. Tete Morente will retrieve. Gallo sends it in. Pavlovic didn't exactly clear that convincingly. Fofana. Jimenez has lost the ball. Camarda. Koulibaly now. It's a lovely pass. Danilo Vega. Tete Morente kept it in play. Gallo's cross. The Stupinian straight to a red shirt in the shape of Ramadani. Good spell this for Lecce. Salamakis concedes the throw. He's having a real battle on this near side with Danilo Vega. See why that would be painful, the follow through. Jimenez can't afford to lose the ball there. Needs to make it stick. That could have easily gone wrong for the visitors. Just a bit heavy to cross. Pavlovic is many things, but it's not exactly quick over the turf. Outpaced by Kaba on a couple of occasions. Nothing wrong with that challenge from Salamakers. Played the ball. Yes, if you slow it down or if you isolate a freeze frame, it looks bad because the studs come down on the top of the boot. But once treatment has been administered to the former Estrela de Amadora player, then we will get back underway as we move into 4 added minutes. Trying to make themselves heard, those Milan supporters. And apart from the Gambia header, had that one opportunity for Loftus-Cheek, but it's not been a barrage of opportunities for Milan. They really are shorn of creativity and unpredictability in the absence of Rafael Leao. Which team wouldn't be? Kept in play by Pierotti. Ramadani's ball forward. It's easy for Menyar, at least you would have thought so. Instead, Gambia takes charge. Never hurried, Modric, even when it's an awkward bouncing ball on his chest, and a couple of opponents are chasing after him from behind. Tomori. Here the two Englishmen communicating their native tongue. Turn, said Tomori to Loftus-Cheek. Modric. Musa. Good work from him. Now it's Salamakers. Stupinian making the run. Salamakers, cleverly done. Musa dropping the shoulder. Modric, Fofana. Salamakers has time and space to shoot. There was Danilo Vega once again. Pierotti. Stupinian, Salamakers. Now Loftus-Cheek. Stupinian. Jimenez with the effort. Modric wants handball off Koulibaly. Lecce trying to counter with Camarda. Bringing in Kaba. Pierotti didn't realise the pass was intended his way. Milan had moved it really well before that attempted scissor kick from Jimenez, trying to channel Bonazzoli. Fofana, through it goes. Here's Santi Jimenez, and he spurns the chance. The flag stayed down. He's been recruited at great expense to score goals, but he snatched at that, did Santi. Got back on side, got the ball out of his feet, and in seeking out the far corner, Jimenez has dragged it wide. That might be evidence as to why Allegri still wants one, if not a couple, of centre-forward options. Never know if Camarda would have taken that chance had he been playing on the opposite side this evening. Maybe he'll get a chance for the team that have borrowed him. Modric. Fofana too quick for Ramadani. We've played the 4 added minutes. Time for one last Milan attack, perhaps. Musa. Crosses towards Pavlovic. May have been going wide. Falcone wasn't sure, and Milan win a corner. Just kicked it behind the Lecce skipper. Was that creeping in? Probably would have hit the side netting. Falcone wasn't to know. Real shinner from Strahinja. Modric takes it short this time. Salamakis bends it in. Thiago Gabriel got up well, and that should be half-time. Break in play whilst the centre-back is checked on after being winded. And that now is the break. A platform for Lecce with which to approach the second half. Had they been a bit more decisive in the final third, they might have been able to have a breakthrough. Milan thought they had made the breakthrough through Gabbia. Just 3 minutes in, his goal disallowed for a slight shove on Koulibaly at the break at the Via del Mare. Still goalless. Lecce 0, Milan 0. Been around the block, Eusebio Di Francesco's 8th different Serie A club. Certainly had successful spells with Sassuolo and Roma in particular, leading the latter to Champions League semi-finals, lest we forget. He wants to prove he can still be really relevant at this level. Doesn't want his name to become synonymous with the relegation. Francesco Camarda only played 45 minutes against his parent club. It does mean we're going to see a debut for the new man. Player recruited to fill the boots of Nikola Krstovic. This is Nikola Štulic, who's joined on a 4-year deal from Charleroi in Belgium. Got 16 goals for his club side last season. Lecce have a platform upon which to build. It's the same scoreline they had at the midway point of their season opener at Genoa. That finished goalless. They'll probably take that result this evening against Milan, the Salentini, but they might feel they can still hurt the Rossoneri. For Allegri, anything other than maximum points tonight was already inconceivable. Such are the demands of one of the biggest jobs in the Italian game. Flicked on towards Štulic by Tete Morente. Well, there are similarities. A player from the Balkans, a player called Nikola, wearing 9 for Lecce, whereas if Krstovic was from Montenegro, so Štulic is from Serbia. He has been named in their squad as well. Recap of the two teams. It's Pavlovic seeks out Jimenez. Easy enough for Gaspar. Gallo. Koulibaly tried to dummy it. Loftus-Cheek got something on it. Here he is again. Musa in support. Modric. Unorthodox from Gaspar, that's Musa. Gallo made sure it didn't reach Loftus-Cheek, and he also gets the clearance to safety. Koulibaly. Pavlovic seemed to take a while to react there to the potential danger. He had a massive head start on Pierotti. Tomori. Loftus-Cheek couldn't make it stick. Now Ramadani, Koulibaly, Tete Morente. Modric reading the game well, tracking back. Never waste possession, Luka Modric. He's given it to Ramadani, though. Jinxed him there. Ramadani immediately seeking out Stulic. That could be a route to goal for Lecce. Win it high up the pitch. Catch the opposition off guard and out of shape. Well in by Tete Morente. Got there ahead of Loftus-Cheek. Koulibaly. Caba's in support. It's a foul by Tomori. Well, all that talk about 5-goal thrillers. Most recent one ended 3-2, the way of Milan coming from 2-0 down to get the victory after a pair of 2-2 draws here. Milan won 4-1 here in the lockdown season. Game in late June. Prior to that 7-goal thriller we've already mentioned when it was the same coaches back in October 2011. Allegri's teams are typically miserly. Might be why this has been a tighter game than come to expect with Milan in recent times. Gallo with the free kick. Headed clear by Gabbia. Up in the air by Ramadani. Stulic putting himself about. It's Caba. Stulic. Caba! Good block from Tomori. That's why Maignan was able to gather. Fofa now finds Salamakers, looking to make something happen for Milan. Salamakers too close to the keeper. I'm sure we'll see Pulisic at some stage. Only he and the Milan medical staff will know how much he's able to feature this evening. Other options on the bench, Samuel Chukwueze, who's been linked with a move to the Premier League with Fulham. Stulic, now Koulibaly. This is Tete Morente. Like a foul there on Musa. Apology from Tete Morente for leaving a boot in. There I said, Stulic already doing more, a couple of touches than Kamada Must did in 45 minutes. Bar's been set very high for Francesco Kamada, being proclaimed as Italy's next great wonder kid. Francesco unhappy that Koulibaly hadn't already come across and shuffled in terms of the press. It's all about shuffling and sliding. Scivola. Might be an evening for patience for Milan. It certainly seems to be the case at the moment. Salamakers always with that positive first touch going forward. Thiago Gabriel, Caba for Danilo Veiga. Spotted the run from Stulic into the channel. Gaspar. Well in by Stupinian. Didn't quite get the rewards of that interception. Who knows if Milan could have made use of Ardon Yashadi this evening had he not fractured his fibula. That training ground clash with Santi Jimenez. Forward by Gallo. Stulic. No foul. foul by Capia. Loftus-Cheek stepping away here. 3v3 for Milan. Loftus-Cheek. Now it's Salamakers. Tried the reverse pass. Still Salamakers. Musa. First touch took him wide. Lecce have now packed the box. In by Tomori. Away by Kaba. Didn't make full use of that, Milan. It was a 3v3 situation at one stage. Fofana. That's an excellent ball. Musa now. Again, reluctant to deliver the ball first time. Modric. Estupinian. Now Salamakers. Estupinian once more. Ramadani read the cutback. Ramadani now looking for Stulic. Trying to bounce off Pavlovic. Clash of two Serbian players there. Pavlovic seemed to know what to expect. Modric. It's a terrific ball. Estupinian. Salamakers. Milan trying to force their way through. Salamakers won't quite get there. They've got a nudge over the hoardings from Danilo Vega. Did well not to hurt himself there. Fairly tidy dismount. Won't be long before Milan start considering changes. Stulic on for the second half from Di Francesco. Let's have a much bigger bench than Milan have to pick from this evening. Let's have given it away. Pavlovic. Musa. Loftus-Cheek. He's done well to keep it in play. Now he needs some help. Gabriel having a real nibble at him. We play on. Modric with the delivery. This is Salamakers. Estupinian scuffed it. Modric showing his teammates where he expected the back post run. Took an extra touch, spotted the space. Salamakers was too far away. That's where you want someone closing in to head it. Might well have been Rafael Leao had he been fit. Instead, Salamakers was pulling away to almost get into another crossing position. They're not on the same page yet. It will take some time to bed these new signings in, especially when it's essentially the brains of the team in the shape of Modric. Fofana tried to bring it down. Gaspar did well to recover because got himself in a spot of bother there. Chukwueze warming up. So too Bartesaghi, Pulisic and Atekame. Another new face, the Swiss fullback from Young Boys. Koulibaly was careless from Tomori, couldn't get the ball from there, just kicked through the back of Koulibaly. No need, just jockey. Those sort of mistakes are easily forgotten, provided you deal with the next passage of play. But if Lecce were to score from this set piece, it'd be under the microscope, Tomori, especially in the morning papers, sports dailies with their pagelle, the player ratings. Gallo takes it short. Teta Morente curls it in. Stulic was waiting. Maignan came through the crowd. It's a very lively goalkeeping shirt for Mike Maignan with those orange and pink inserts. Almost like a throwback to the days of Jorge Campos, the great Mexican goalkeeper, in his most magic eye jerseys. Gabbia, Modric, Ricardo Sotil's on the way. Milan were already wary of Camarda scoring against them. Sotil was on loan with them last season. Gaspar beaten to it by Santi Jimenez. That's going to be a corner. Came off the Angolan's head last. The Sotil substitution will wait until this set piece has been negotiated by the defensive side. Have lots of aerial threats, particularly with the back three. We're all forward. Modric takes the corner. Loftus-Cheek is there, and Santi Jimenez didn't get enough purchase on the header. Look across to the assistant to see whether he would have been flagged offside. Well in by Estupinian. Now Milan can counter. Estupinian. Time and space for Loftus-Cheek. And here is Luka Modric. Wanted an extra touch or two. Loftus-Cheek. Modric. Tomori. Salamakers has swapped wings. Salamakers. Now Tomori. Salamakers again, they've let him turn. Here's Santi Jimenez, that's more like it. Squandered a big chance in the first half, he's buried this one. One touch out of his feet, the second to strike it past Falcone. And in front of the travelling Milan fans, Santi Jimenez gets the Rossoneri up and running here. He didn't shy away, didn't hide after that earlier missed opportunity. Salamakers with the vision. First touch is exquisite from the Mexico forward. And that's what allowed him just to put his boot through it and drill it into the corner. A silent check will be ongoing as to ascertain whether he was the wrong side of the last defender. But the finish is something to behold. Finished last season strongly with 3 goals in the final 5 matches of Serie A. Nice gesture there for Ardon Yashari after his fractured fibula. Santi Jimenez is a very religious man. Delighted to get his first goal of the season early on in the campaign. But here we go. Following a VAR check, the Milan number 7 in the move leading to the goal was in an offside position. The final decision is goal overturned, offside. Well, he celebrated a little bit too early. Twice now Milan have been denied by the VAR, twice. They've had to hear the voice of Livio Marinelli over the loudspeaker. Gabbia saw his goal chalked off for a shove. Santi Jimenez, the wrong side of the last defender. They'll have to do it all over again. An hour gone in Salento and still nothing to show for their play for Max Allegri's side. Cabba didn't have his best game this evening. Santiago Pierotti coming off as well. So an opportunity for Ricardo Sotil, his second game for the club. Made his debut off the bench at Manassi against Genoa. 8 appearances for Milan last season. Didn't score, albeit he only started one game. And Medon Berisha, playing midfield, has taken the number 10 shirt following the departure of Rémi Houdin. Gallo on by Sotil. Loftus-Cheek straight to Ramadani. Now Stulic over the top by Berisha. Gabbia backing up his colleague Tomori. Max Allegri is very sanguine, he's very pragmatic as a coach. He admitted that actually felt his side almost played better against Cremonese than they did Bari in the Cup, despite losing against Cremonese and beating Bari a week earlier. Almost accused the media of being a little bit reductive. That's poor from Thiago Gabriel. Salamakers, he was caught by Gaspar. A card is on the way. What colour? That's the question. Salamakers feels it should be red for Dogso, denying a goal-scoring opportunity. Ramadani having words with the Belgium international. It was a terrible square ball to give the ball away in the first place. Just felt he could pinch it there, did Gaspar. He's saying he took a piece of the ball and then it came off Salamakers, which may well be the case, but it's the follow-through from the Angolan defender which takes him into Salamakers. The yellow card immediately shown by Livio Marinelli. Salamakers thought that he had been denied a goal-scoring opportunity, and as such that warranted a red. It's no longer sufficient just to get a piece of the ball. Had he got a piece of the ball and not made contact with Salamakers, then might have had a case. So often follow through is what ends up costing players. We saw that match day 1 for Ismael Kone, the new Canada international signing for Sassuolo. Milan need to make something happen once again. Twice they've had goals disallowed this evening. In by Modric, Loftus-Cheek. Third time's a charm for Milan. This one will surely stand. Prolific in his first season with the Rossoneri, anonymous in his second campaign. Allegri knows what Loftus-Cheek can produce, and some evidence of it there. It is a goal which has been so long in the waiting. The 30th of March 2024, the previous time that Loftus-Cheek had found the net in Milan colours. It's almost 18 months later that he's once again on the score sheet, just guiding the ball into the far corner. Modric gets the assist, and Milan finally make their dominance count. Lecce looking for another reprieve from the officials. Danilo Vega going down, claiming he was blocked or pushed. But I'd be amazed if this is anything other than a goal for the Rossoneri. Now he's waited for that. 10 goals across all competitions in his first season with the club. Didn't find the net in year 2. And in week 2 of season 3, Ruben Loftus-Cheek back amongst the goal scorers for Milan. This has always been the issue for Lecce in recent seasons. Do they score enough goals? Having fallen behind and had a couple of let-offs as well. Can they go and hurt Milan? It's a foul by Jimenez on Gaspar. That's the reverse camera angle that best illustrates how far offside Santi Jimenez was. Gaspar, Lecce going a bit more direct now, away by Pavlovic. Modric finding Fofana. Gallo went to press, but he needs players backing him up, which was certainly what Di Francesco was suggesting in the technical area. Berisha's lost it. Fofana. Space on the far side for Stupinian. It doesn't reach him. Stulic. Ramadani. Finding Sotil. He can be a creative force. Berisha. Sotil. Try and win a corner at the very least. Instead it's back with Gallo. Gallo's cross. Mignon should claim that. Was a bit floaty, the delivery. Pavlovic. Modric. Pavlovic forward. Jimenez. Now it's Loftus-Cheek. Space on this near side for Musa. A couple of Milan changes on the way. Bartesaghi and Ricci stripped and ready to go. Musa. Jimenez leaves it. That's Fofana. Terrific save. Still there for Musa, provided he's onside. He wasn't. Yusuf Fofana almost picked out the top corner there. Falcone equal to the effort. Struck it well, needed the top hand from the Lecce skipper. He'll be pleased. On another night, it could easily be Lecce 0, Milan 3. Time for another cooling break, the other side of which I'm sure we'll see some new faces. Pulisic is also about to be introduced. They still believe, whilst they're only one goal behind. Lecce still very much in this. League table will take on a different complexion for Milan, provided they can hang on to this scoreline. 3 points from 2 games, a lot better than 0 after 1. But again, you might have expected that, looking at those 2 fixtures, that if they were to drop points, it would probably more likely be at Lecce as opposed to home to Cremonese. But that's the goal which separates the 2 sides. Modric, again, providing devilish delivery, and Loftus-Cheek knew he didn't require power, just had to glance it beyond where the goalkeeper could reach. Here come the new faces then for Milan the next time the ball goes out of play, from the looks of things. Gallo. Tomori wants to watch it behind for a goal kick. Realised there probably wasn't enough pace on the ball to do so. Gaspar. Danilo Vega. Thiago Gabriel. Gallo. Easy to read. That ball inside for Stulic. Modric wanted it more there. Certainly not pulling out of the challenge. Pavlovic. Far too easy for Milan to find Jimenez, Fofana. Loftus-Cheek can release Musa, at least that's what he was trying to do. Rossoneri reset. Pavlovic. Salimakis giving chase. Gaspar timed his tackle perfectly. Ramadani able to turn. Game just becoming a bit stretched. Milan won't want that. They want to control the game. Gallo. Sotil now. Can run at Musa. Sotil. A bit of traffic, the white shirts. Gallo. Now Berisha has time. Came off Modric. Salimakis. This is Pavlovic breaking forward. Showing a bit of pace as well. Only Jimenez in support. Pavlovic. Now it's Santi Jimenez. Great challenge from Thiago Gabriel. Sort of tackle that if you get wrong it's a penalty, maybe even a red card. If there's no real attempt to play the ball. Instead he got the ball. Keeps Lecce in the match. All'attacco Lecce comes the cry. On the front foot Lecce, that's what the fans want. Eager to see an equaliser. Gallo. Finally, we can see the Milan substitutions with a quarter of an hour remaining. Pavlovic did so well there to tee up Jimenez. Just wonder whether this time the first touch was a tiny bit heavy. That's what allowed Thiago Gabriel to do that. Loftus-Cheek got his goal, and it's his effort which currently has Milan on course for maximum points. Ricci replaces the Englishman. Salimakis withdrawn for Christian Pulisic. Partizani presumably for Estupinian, we shall see. No, it remains a double change for the moment. Changes of foot as well in the Lecce technical area as they pursue back into this game. Helgason. Slip through here for Stulic, and Maignan did about enough. Couldn't hold it, had to concede the corner, but Nikola Stulic showing promise. Tete Morente with the ball slipped through. Gambia just leant into the striker, which knocked him off balance, but clever ball with the outstep from Tete Morente. Berisha's corner, headed behind by Ricci. Taken short this time by Lecce. Danilo Veiga, who's out chasing it down. Modric turns 40 next month. Astonishing work rate. Outstanding example to set. The 9th of September, incidentally. Around about 10 days from now is when Luka Modric will turn 40. Stupinian finding Pavlovic. It's all about cool heads now from Milan, making the right decisions, managing the game. Ramadani's done well. Tete Morente. Koulibaly. Safe hands for Mignon. Still he waits, the Iceland international. Gaspar heads it clear. Modric with all the time to bring it down. Pulisic. He was the hero of that 3-2 come-from-behind win here in March, Christian Pulisic. Musa. Ricci now. Can Milan kill it off here? Ricci went for the near post. Falcone wasn't going to be beaten there. Struck it well, nothing wrong with the effort. Milan could be more threatening from set pieces this season. Modric's delivery continues to be this accurate. Another Modric ball in, and it was a chance as well for Fofana. Has a happy knack of finding white shirts tonight, Modric. Gallo. Helgeson's been joined by Conan Ndri. Sotil, well found in the channel. Sotil stands it up. This is way overhit. So Ramadani for Helgason. The latter named in his country's squad for the upcoming matches in the September international break. Tete Morente, meantime, withdrawn for Conan Ndri. Signed in the winter window for around 2 million euros. That was from Belgian side Louvain. Also reported interest from teams in Germany and France as well. Louvain or Leuven, Flemish name. Lecce all out of subs. All Di Francesco can now do is tweak his shape in terms of the formation. Personnel can no longer be altered. Koulibaly. Run the way of Pavlovic. Modric now. Stulic working hard to try and knock him off possession. Modric instead finds his Stupinian, and here's Santi Jimenez. That could be a penalty. Instead the flag goes up. Santi Jimenez was offside, but it did look like Thiago Gabriel had a big swing. Swipe at Santi Jimenez. The flag initially up against Pervis Stupinian. Maybe Jimenez was offside from the header as well. Only one of 4 coaches to have recorded more than 1,000 points in the Italian top flight. Luciano Spalletti, a win and a draw away from doing so. The former Italy head coach, should he return to Serie A. But Max Allegri, 6 Scudetti, 1 with Milan, 5 in a row with Juventus. He's got 1 more than Conte, albeit his 5 have come with 3 different clubs. Allegri's with 2. Trapp out in front with 7. Thiago Gabriel, Gallo, Helgason shows short for it. Here he is now. Helgason almost released Gallo. Modric, overhit for Jimenez. Helgason, Koulibaly. Someone needs to be positive for Lecce. Someone needs to take a chance, take on an opponent and beat them. That's what Andri was looking to do there. Gaspar, half a dozen minutes remaining plus added time for Lecce to force an equaliser. Andri has gone down with a yelp. The assistant was unmoved. Pulisic. If it is a head injury, the referee is obliged by the laws of the game to stop proceedings. Is this a foul? Not really. Perhaps obstruction by Estupinian, just bumping into Andri, but under no real need to necessarily clear a path for his opponent. Berisha. Andri. Looks like Milan have done enough. Just on the balance of play, Lecce offering very little in the final third. Koulibaly. Andri wants the return, he gets it. Andri, and this is Štulić who couldn't control. Well, it was actually meant as a shot by Andri. He scuffed it to such an extent it became a pass for Štulić, and had he controlled, he would have had a big opportunity to equalise there. It's run the way here of Christian Pulisic. Just half a chance. He gambled and he got his reward. The match winner in March, and it looks like Pulisic has made sure of the points in Salento this time around as well. Not fit enough to start, but that's why Allegri sent him on. The feeling that he could go and get a goal. And having scored against Bari in the Cup, he finds the net against another side from Puglia. Lecce in the league. Just route 1 from Maignan. Gaspar didn't deal with the danger. Sloppy from Danilo Veiga. And how cool was Pulisic? The first touch to put him into the goal-scoring position. And then just bent around Vladimiro Falcone. Such a big player for Milan, Christian Pulisic. And he's proven that once again here. Feel good for that fan base. There have been some nerves coming in. Those have been banished now. We are going to see Cheveillon Ballantien from the looks of things. Well, he was recruited just 8 days ago for Milan Futura, the under-23 side, now actually operating in the 4th tier, having been relegated from Serie C last season. And dreaming time as Lecce now improbably trying to score twice. Dutchman and Cheveux Ballantien. Won't turn 19 until December. Helgason with the corner. Gaspar was in there. Milan now want the clean sheet. They've got a 2-goal buffer. Should be fine in terms of the result. Long by Danilo Vega. Stulic putting himself about. Had the measure there of Tomori in the middle. Gallo. Sotil. Danilo Vega and Dri nearly lost the ball. Stupinian had a good game. Ricci. Pulisic. Ballantien is offside. Through it goes now for Ballantien, who can run a goal here. Ballantien put his boot through it. It's a big boy. He's nearly 1.90 meters tall. Pulisic almost had a crucial role in that potential goal as well, having already got the second. Just off balance when he struck it, the teenager. Well, this is not what they need. Whether Ricci's just landed awkwardly on the turf, which was a bit heavy there, or whether someone's wrapped him around the ankles. Having just lost Yashari to injury, which will probably keep him out for at least a couple of months. Allegri will not want Ricci, another player in the middle of the park, to also be on the treatment table. Stulic got up early. Sotil is quick, but not that speedy. Added time on the way now. Five to come then. Had several substitutions. We had the cooling break as well. Plus, just like in the first half, we had a disallowed goal for Milan. Gambia denied in the opening 45 minutes. Santi Jimenez in the second half. Berisha. Sotil. Gaspar. Lecce are still trying, but their efforts feel forlorn at this stage. Ndri. Gallo. Now it's Sotil. Testing Ricci. Sotil. Gallo delivers. Again, Maignan is able to come and claim it. So often tonight, those crosses have just been wafted in. Very easy for a goalkeeper of his ability to come and deal with the danger. To test lie ahead rather for Milan, but have shown guts this evening to get this result. Pulisic. Ricci is now offside by the time the American spotted him. Bologna the other side of the international break. They might have no points on the board come their trip to San Siro. Who knows? Very difficult game in the Dallara against Como tomorrow. Di Francesco's made himself hoarse from all the shouting down there. Calma. Take your time, Musa. What's the rush? We're 2-0 up in added time. Hell hath no fury. like Max Allegri, when you're not using up every valuable second just to manage the game and see it out. Now Musa will take some time. He's got a little bit of a knock to his back. Stupinian, it's their time for Milan third. Pulisic fouled. The time will come. It's not going to be a victory, probably not even a result in their opening home game of the league season. Did play here against Juve Stabia and put their place in the next round of the Coppa Italia. Next home game here against Cagliari. That's the other side of a trip to Bergamo to take on Ivan Juric's new look Atalanta side. Misjudged by Gaspar. Out by Gabbia. Valenciennes. Gallo. Sotil knocked off his stride. They've let it bounce here. Helgeson's got to the loose ball first. Gallo will try again. Instead he goes back to Sotil. Different angle for the cross perhaps. Gallo doesn't beat the first man, Ricci. Sotil. Anything now would just surely be a consolation for Lecce. Berisha and Dri. And Dri's ball in. Out by Tomori. Then Modric. That should be that. Job well done. Not as convincing as it might have been in terms of the scoreline, but Max Allegri's Milan have their first league victory of the new season. Di Francesco's Lecce well beaten in the end. 2-0 the scoreline, but it could have easily been 4, but for goals disallowed for Gabbia and Santi Jimenez. Pulisic came off the bench to make sure of the points after Loftus-Cheek had scored his first goal in nearly a year and a half. It is a clean sheet for the Rossoneri, and they put that Cremonese defeat behind them. It ends here in Salento. Lecce 0, Milan 2.
La squadra ha fatto una buona partita, soprattutto come attenzione, come ordine, che era la cosa più importante. Con la Cremonese avevamo fatto una buona partita, però siamo stati puniti da 2 episodi dove abbiamo difeso in modo non buono, ma anche stasera secondo me in alcune situazioni potevamo fare meglio. Detto questo, la squadra ha fatto bene, non è facile mai vincere a Lecce, perché comunque il Lecce è una buona squadra, giocare qui è sempre difficile, quindi siamo contenti di questo risultato. Sono contento perché Stupinian al primo tempo ha fatto un po' di fatica, però il secondo tempo poi è cresciuto molto, perché comunque loro il primo tempo hanno dato un'ottima pressione, quindi ci saltavano abbastanza addosso. Invece il secondo tempo la squadra è cresciuta molto anche a livello fisico, ha mantenuto quei ritmi più alti, e con la qualità sicuramente siamo riusciti a portare a casa una partita importante. A volte anche con la Cremonese perdevamo la pazienza di voler recuperare la palla velocemente, e lì si possono creare dei buchi dentro il campo. Invece ci vuole pazienza, perché le partite durano 95 minuti e quindi avere una solidità è la cosa più importante.
Dopo l'ultima partita dobbiamo vincere oggi. Stasera è una
difficile partita perché 2 gol cancellato e poi faccio gol e poi Christian, quindi molto felice per questo perché è difficile per la testa dopo 2 gol cancellato, la mentalità perfetta, quindi vinciamo stasera, molto felice per 3 punti. Adesso sento molto meglio, molto bene fisicamente, mentalmente fresco dopo l'ultima stagione molto difficile per me, quindi molto felice per 3 punti stasera e io faccio gol per il fiducia per me e per la squadra molto bene.
Yeah, them long legs! The Scandinavian long legs. If you want to say one more, it's fine. No. And you. Yes,
Vai. Tanto spingo. And go. Vai, sì. One break. One break the end, sorry. Sì, 1. Sì, vengo. 2, freno, fuori. Vai, sì. Io dopo. Vado. Sì, freno, fuori. Andiamo. Sì. Andiamo tutta la fila di... freno ancora, fuori lunga. Sì, freno e vieni, freno alla fine. Brete di end. Andiamo, sì. 1, sì, vieni. 2, lungo. Potete andare a bere. Andiamo forte, vieni. E break. Yeah.
Okay, and over here. Over body. Erin is it? Sit. Short on her. Yes. Hello. Erin over there with the ball. Watch how many. Like 2 and then we change. No. I know. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah, Erin. Be strong, Joe. Go. Blue. Attack. Yes, okay. Forte sul cerno. Mandala fuori. Davanti ancora. Ok. Faccio primo. E contact. Yes, for you, Marta. Jumper over there. Yeah, Emma, go. Yes, go, Georgia. Go. Okay, yeah. Go, Angelica. Attack it. Yes, well done. Make the run, Evelyn. Outside. Yes.
Well done, Angelica. Get the new ball. Evelyn, make contact with Evelyn. Open body. See Evelyn in the ball. Yes, Angelica. Well done. That's a striker of the
Outside, yeah.
Well done, yeah, Emma. bianchi e 12 dei se qua ce ne sono 13 non è un problema. Ciao,
siccome c'è un altro, appena si può, date il tempo giusto per partire. Guardiamo, deve arrivare, diamo il tempo per favore, aspetta Maggio. Tempi giù. Andiamo. Man mano come vi sentite, ok, aumentiamo. Sì, andiamo sul rosa. Pier, non mi smale quando fai questo. Qua, attenzione ai miei occhiali. Ok, vai. Vai, sveglia. Sveglia, andiamo. Uno, palla avanti, palla dietro, via. La mezza si apre per ricevere palla. Scarica, mezza luna del play, lancio sull'attaccante. Esterno il terzino sotto. Si apre, scarico, vai Simo a occupare la posizione. La mezza inizia ad aumentare il passo e va a fare il terzino. Pier, vai senza palla, bravissimo Pier. Si sa che roba è? Andiamo, su si sa. Scarico, Andrea, aumenta il passettino tu adesso. Dito, la mezza deve aumentare il passo, Dito, andare a occupare lo spazio rosso. Vai, aumenta il passo, devi cambiare il passo in continuazione. Vai sotto, vieni dietro accanto. Bravo Sam, vieni sotto, Sis. I tempi giusti ragazzi, guardate gli attaccanti dove stanno. Oh. Casti meglio sto lancio. Un po' più cesso, non voglio sta palla. Vai a occupare la posizione del terzino. Hai cambiato lato, Simo. Simo, abbiamo cambiato lato. No, questo no. Ok, cambiamo lato. Tutto uguale. Su. Sì. Meglio. Su. Sì, meglio Pippo. Fabio. Vai dentro. Bravo. Ok. Allora, ti cambio passo. Vediamo che dopo dobbiamo lavorare. Controllo, apro. Dentro il campo, grazie, dentro. Uno e cambio passo. Vai, cambio passo. Veloce. Dentro. Vai subito però. Simo, arriva l'altra palla, dai. Vai Simo, vai. Non ce la fai a dentro il campo, Tarta, vai là. No, la palla per incontro, Luco, incontro. Lavoriamo col piede debole. Si apre. Vai di sotto. Sì. Va benissimo, tranquillo, bravo, non ti preoccupare, bravo, su, bravo Pippo, vai subito lì, 10 metri Pippo, vai, infatti vado ad attaccare subito la zona, i primi senza guardare, buona, un po' più preciso, buono, dai, carico, come va, ok? Ma sei un figlio di puttana che mi ha dato il finito. Dai, raga. Sì, stretti K, ha detto! Non ci interessa, aspetta!
Controllo Cappello!
Guarda chi va! Lascialo fuori! Vieni, adesso sì! Stretto! Bravo Pier! Bravo Paglie! E buono, era fuori gioco, gioca! Jolly! Grandissimo! Senti l'odore! Ricci! Ok!
Fuori! Vertice!
Vieni! Più veloci, vieni! Bravissimi! Vieni ecco, stai in zona! Stai Diego, non ci interessa Edo! Che Frugno! Diego! Tantissimi bianchi! Bravissimi!
Benissimo!
Stretti! Linea! Frugno non andare troppo! Frugno! Passi stretti e stringo! Passi stretti e stringo! Grida! Passi stretti! Brave! Ottimo Frugno! Reazione a Griglia!
Fuori!
Vai! Gioco! Frugno!
Io!
Terzino Frugno! Esci prima!
Stretto lì! Scappa! Gioco! Stai con me, palla mia! Stretto! Vai!
Bravi! Pier, palla! Bravo Lili! Grandissimo Pier! Vai, vieni!
Sale!
Occhio! Io! Ok,
Scappa, giusto! Ma raga, prima parliamo!
Stretti!
Scivola!
Ecco, stretto, non lo pensare all'esterno, Edo, aspetta! Stretto! Non ci fa male esterno! Qui ci fanno male! Qui non ci interessa! Lo portiamo dentro! Va dentro! Eccolo, via! Fuori! Bravo!
Scivola!
Stretto, Cristian, non ci interessa! Ecco perché, Cristian! Va bene! Bravo Edo, ok, recuperate e andiamo con Andrea! Primo palo! Bravo! Dammela pure forte, tanto faccio due tu. Vai, vieni avanti. La palla che gira, Luca. Bravo! Bravo Ale, fermo quando cade. Vieni avanti, Peter, vieni avanti a giocare, bravo, eccolo lì. Buono che va forte. Piano, dietro mi sta allenando. Perché ti saranno venuto addosso? Era necessario. Un po' più forte, Ale, un po' più secca, è una palla vera. Ecco, anche a lui.
Forte!
Muovi la palla, Simo! Uno deve alzarsi per portare via il difensore! Gioca! Ci siamo, Pere! Eccolo lì! Uscito!
Forte!
Non più!
Stai davanti a sinistra!
Fallo alle spalle!
Insieme!
Andiamo! Vieni, Cappe! Pippo, troppi tocchi! Alza! Guadagna!
Calma, prima dentro!
Lollo, mantieni la posizione! Ognuno c'è su! Il portiere non mi interessa! Pippo esce sul braccetto!
Non pressa!
Piano, Simone vieni! Cap è tutto tuo. Ora la manci. Forti Cap. Bravo Pier.
Hai il tuo riferimento, dici pezzi a piedi.
Cosa ti butti? Lavoriamo sui falli laterali. Faccio il tuo uomo. Sono bravi, veloce. Sei sul tuo uomo, Lollo. Dentro, Massimo. Simo, riferimento. Bravo. Bravo, Plat. Prendiamo palla.
Ma non andrà mai giù adesso perché è l'ama che sta dando dentro.
Oh, girate,
Fino qua bloccato, lì ci giocherà al bene.
Bravo! Forte! E scioppi! Uno dentro! Sotto Pippo! Ancora, pazienza!
Ci vuole insieme. Portalo fuori, Gigino, portalo fuori. Forte, ancora, andiamo.
Pazienza!
Sul tempo lì, sul tempo. Fuori, Cis. Forte! Scivola! Bravo!
Facci!
Bene, bravo! Manca uno, fanno arrivo, Presidio! Uomo! Forte! Ecco più! Lascia avanti! Su! Flash
Vicino,
ok! Costruisci a 3, ricordo di culo davanti da lì!
Non farla girare!
Bravi! Via Pippo! Non uscire mai da solo! Ognuno è suo! Pippo, non prendere ego!
Stringi!
Buona, caffè!
Chiudila!
Era fuori
Dai,
gioco!
cattivi, andiamo!
Facciamo!
Non uscire! Sì, fai gol!
Portalo fuori, vertice! Secondo Pippo arriva la palla, Uomo! Dai, Andrea, puoi fare meglio!
Uomo! Forte!
Pippo, non ci stiamo palla dietro! Uomo! Sei centrale! Mettiti solo a posto adesso, Pippo! Sei! Andrea! Occhio alla batteria! Ce l'hai! Pippo! Lancio da fatto, non mi interessa forzato!
Fuori!
Bravi! Cerchiamoci, bravi! Continua!
Forte!
Uomo!
Avanti!
Bravo Andrea!
Australia,
After a 7-hour flight from Hong Kong, we have made it to Perth. AC Milan is back in Western Australia 1 year after the last time, and our last stop, this tour starts from here, alongside the banks of the Swan River, where you can go for a walk and also meet the power animal of this country, the kangaroo.
Sam Kerr Football Centre, Queen's Park, Perth. The work on the pitch for AC Milan starts directly here in training facilities dedicated to one of the best strikers in women's football. The Rossoneri will be dealing with a very different temperature compared to the one in Singapore and Hong Kong. 9 degrees and windy in pure Australian winter. The best way to fight cold? Warm up with intensity on the pitch.
Ecco lì, va bene. Lì, bravo, così mi piace Matte, con quegli appoggi lì. Sì, con quegli appoggi lì va bene, eh? Bravo, lì, vai. Buona. Sì. Di là, schiaccia. Certo, di là, certo, questa qui. No. Sì, per tu! Calma! Deve tirare forte anche di sinistra. Forte!
Unusual, but I guess you get used to it, the fishbowl effect, and it's very good to have you here in Western Australia. Welcome. I didn't think you were going to say that. How good was that, boys? Fantastic, wasn't it? Thank you.
We're very, very excited to be hosting you here as a global iconic club of the world.
This week will be great, and you will see a lot of us, so prepare your gear. Thank you.
Siamo molto contenti di essere arrivati a Perth, è una città meravigliosa, nuova, bella, per continuare la preparazione.
And the mighty AC Milan jersey autographed as well.
Andiamo ragazzi, veloci!
Questa, ancora due. Lì. Questa, ultima. C'è, vieni qua. Aspetta, vai, questa qui. Di là, sulla la palla. Controlla la direzione. Ancora qua, aspetto. Di là, sopra, sulla palla. Ok, bravo. Avanti, solo. Bravo, stai move. Open. Solo, vai. Siga. Se non è buono. Su, vai! Vieni! E prepara, andiamo! Sotto! Fuori! No, al destro! Ruben, ti accompagna! Stiamo lì, Ruben! Stiamo lì!
The team is training full throttle in this new day here in Perth. In the meantime, let's go for a stroll in the streets of the so-called City of Light.
There's just so many things you can do in Perth. You can go at Scarborough to surf and breathe some fresh air, or you can go cuddle animals at Caversham Park, like Noah Okafor, Ronald Loftus-Cheek, Yusuf Fofana, and Malik Chowdhury. Or you can play some local sports, like Australian football with Rafael Leao and Elijah Yu.
You guys met one before? What? A wombat? You know what it is? Okay. We'll go see and I'll explain what it is. All right, come on in, guys. This one this way. Thank you. That should be the real handover. That should be good. Take a bit. Thank you.
Kick out the bottom of it. Back to it. On the other, yeah. And then kick up the bottom side closest to you and get the back to it. Yeah. There you go.
That's it. That's good.
That's it.
Oh, that's
there you
good.
go.
Wow.
Lovely. Well done. Good. Very good.
Sappiamo che è una squadra giovane, una squadra che ha entusiasmo, per loro sarà un evento importante giocare contro il Milan e per noi comunque sarà un test importante per migliorare la condizione fisica, tecnica e tattica.
The coach will show us like how we will play against them, how to defend, how to attack. But I think the most important thing is like for us it's like to be fit for the new season.
Signed these. They came last year and they're coming.
Voilà, Lu! Facile! Si fa col mister vale 2. Tira dentro con l'esterno.
Dai che si è sbloccato!
Oh!
Muovi, Ale, bravo!
Oliver, fa gol! Oliver! Sali! Oh! Liber! Oh! Malik!
At the end of the last open training session in Perth, it's time to feel some love for the AC Milan players by their fans. Here's an example, Rafael Leao.
Thank you, you're the goat. You're the best person in the world. Do you want a photo? Can we have a photo?
Yeah, okay.
I don't know, you thought about it. Thank you.
Can I get the
Wait, what does that mean? Is this why I spend? Is this why you brought
HBF Park, Perth, the last stop of our 2025 tour. It's match day time and it's AC Milan versus Perth Glory.
Abbiamo fatto 20 giorni di buon lavoro da quando abbiamo iniziato, anzi 25, e abbiamo fatto un buon tour, abbiamo fatto delle buone amichevoli con delle buone prestazioni, abbiamo lavorato bene e quindi siamo contenti di quello che abbiamo fatto. Ora quando riprenderemo il 5 in Italia bisogna pensare che inizierà la stagione e cambierà tutto.
Everybody's happy, everybody's working hard, and the dressing room is crazy, dancing and everything. So we have some group of people that dance, so and I'm part of them. But it's what makes the work more easy for us. So because sometimes you have to focus on your work, sometimes there is times for playing and there is time for joking and there is time for business.
This ball has crossed the goal line 9 times in this last match that AC Milan has played in the 2025 summer tour. It ends 9-0 for the Rossoneri against Perth Glory in the last chapter of our travel. We have visited 3 countries, we have got 2 big wins, and we have witnessed 1 big love from all the fans that we have met. Thanks for watching. It's time to come back to Milan. See you soon.